What is up, guys?
Hey,
How y'all doing? All right. Um, First, before we get really started into I know why everyone's here, I just want to give a shout out to Raphael and his 49ers who just defeated the Rams. Okay, now I don't know if you guys saw a post I made about salary cap, but recently in the Facebook group I posted I had compiled the salary cap about how much money a quarterback is playing with on the field. And that's actually just a piece of the quarterback formula that I took from. Um, but I thought it was interesting. And the 49ers quarterback, Mullins, is playing with about $65 million of active salary cap. Just to put that in perspective, the next team is over $100 million. So he literally is
yeah,
out there. He's out there with nobody, absolutely nobody, and they beat the Rams, who just beat Brady, and the week before that beat down Russell Wilson and made him look kind of average. So shout out to the 49ers. Holy crap. I'm very impressed because, like I said with that post, I said any victory that the 49ers get for the rest of the season has got to be treated with some kind of like, angels singing and trumpets going off because, dude, their roster situation is just complete garbage. I mean, not that their players are garbage. I mean, just the situation of losing so many people. So they beat the
yeah.
Rams today. Wow. And by the way, what this proves, and this is not a shot at the 49ers, I'm just saying, it proves my theory about division games. Okay? Division games, Rams and 49ers, they know each other, man. It doesn't matter how many people the 49ers lost. It doesn't matter how well the Rams are playing. Division games are weird. Look at the Raiders. The Raiders got destroyed today by the Falcons, but they're also the same team who gave the Chiefs their only loss. Why? They know each other. It's just this is how it works, and that's what I like about the NFL. So,
Just can't predict it, even when you think you can.
Raphael Higoy, $2 super chat. He says, "Let's fucking go." Hell yeah, good for you guys. And not only Raphael, but our next shout out, which me and Shaq were just talking about that before we went online, is to Addy. Addy, $2 super chat. He says 8-3, baby. Woo! Okay, so the Cleveland Browns are 8-3. Has hell frozen over, Shaq?
Yes, yes. I'm expecting us all to burn of icicles.
Okay, yeah. So what do y'all want to tackle
But look,
first?
I mean, the Jaguars gave the Browns a game, and they're 1-10, and that was a 2-point win.
Yeah,
So
exactly. It's all just, dude. It's matchups. It's matchups. That's it. It's not
the
about
NFL, the
yeah.
NFL is full of professionals, in regardless of who is playing. Like they're all world class athletes. So
Yep. All right, that's why I
let's just
try to
keep
tell
that
people about
in
the
perspective.
difference between college. Like people have been saying, who's the best college team right now? And I don't even know. Do you know? Like, there's got to be a dominant team, right?
Uh, I don't know.
Okay. Well,
Alabama?
okay, Alabama. Yeah, sure. Let's just say some people will say that Alabama, um, Alabama could beat the Jets right now or something like that. I mean,
No,
that is
no.
stupid. Okay, the Jets would kill them. The Jets would
Yeah.
kill them. So the problem, the thing about the problem that the Crimson Tide would have is that about 90% of that team is never even going to get a tryout in the NFL. Okay, so after the season's over, or after their college career's over, just going to go out into the workforce. Every single guy on the New York Jets is one of the best that's ever come out of their college. Okay? And they're all professionals, and they all are under a professional system. The difference is just enormous. It's not even close, man. Come on.
No.
So, okay, see it twice is a $5 super chat. Thank you, man. He says Bruce Arians is to coaching what Nick Wright is to proportionate noses. Very well said.
I keep comparing him to Gonzo, but I wouldn't do that to one of my favorite Muppets. So
Yeah, exactly. Because Gonzo's actually cute and likable.
yeah. And by the
So,
way, Nick Wright is going off and off and off on Twitter right now. Like you know, he's one of the many idiots that I'm sure are going to try to make uh, Chris Godwin's drop Brady's fault.
oh sure, sure. Or how about Miss Chris Evans just completely missed
Yeah,
it?
Mike Evans. Oh my God,
Chris, who the hell's Chris Evans? Mike Evans.
Chris
Uh,
Evans.
oh yeah, yeah. He's that douche that's in those Marvel movies. Okay. Yeah, he's the one that said he can't support Tom anymore. Some stupid crap. But anyway,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Mike Evans. Um, and Daniel said that to us in Legion before the show. He said, does Mike Evans does he need glasses? Um, well, I don't know because he went to
He,
catch it and it just went. Whoop.
and then it goes. Yeah,
I don't know what's going on. I mean, how many passes were perfect that they dropped? Okay, I'm not saying that Tom didn't make
they
mistakes, but come on.
they came into this game with the third most drops in the league, and there was another pass that went right through. I believe it was Cameron Brate that went right through his hands. So there's a lot of drops happening with this team.
And of course, last week Leonard Fournette. I mean, is his hands like made of stone? Like I don't know if you guys ever watched Doctor Who, but those angel statues that turn to stone when you look at them, that's like got to
Yeah.
be Leonard Fournette's hands when he goes to catch a pass. Honestly, it's ridiculous. $2 super chat from John Thomas Chavez. He says, "How about Bill Folk and situational football?" And thank God for that, John. Oh my
Oh
God,
God.
the
Okay.
difference.
Okay. Oh, are we going to talk about that game and those? Go ahead. You finish.
Oh, that's what I was going to say is that we should hit that one first, just so it's fresh in my mind still, and then before I actually have an aneurysm
Okay.
about the Bucs game. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, the as far as the Patriots game goes, listen, watching Bill coach that game, and not just
Mm-hmm.
Bill, but our coordinators, and then watching the
Yes.
Bucs game makes me want to kill
Yes.
myself. Okay.
Oh my God.
And
Night and day.
well, and one more thing before I let you go off, because I know you have a lot to say about that one, is this: anybody who was saying that Bill was willing to tank or to throw a season away, yeah, I don't. Apparently, you didn't see today because he was coaching it up. Everything mattered. Everything mattered. He was
it,
not trying to lose this game. So
he was cursing those refs out. He was throwing like it. If you thought if he's trying to tank this season, then he either deserves an Oscar for his acting today or he's not. It's 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 amazing these. And by the way, let me just give you some context into what these refs. Do you know who this ref team? Do you know the last game that they refed
um,
in total?
no.
I'll give you one hit and one hit only. The Saints. What game do
Oh
you
my
think I'm talking
God.
about?
Are you serious?
Yep, that
That's the
game.
same crew.
That's the same crew that screwed the Saints into going to the Super Bowl in 2018.
Wow.
So, with that in mind, I mean, just some of the ridiculous calls that happened in this game. Uh, I believe, and the main one is, I believe it was it Anthony Johnson Jackson? I don't know how to say his name. uh, they called this blindside block on him,
Yes.
and he's tackling the guy.
I don't even
What is he
understand.
supposed to do? Is he supposed
How
to
is
say,
that
"Hi,
exactly?
I'm going to tackle you. I'm going to tackle you now. Are you ready for me to tackle you?" I'm just done. I just can't. I just lost it when they called that.
They they kind of paid us back with the Cam hit because that was technically inbounds. Let's be honest. Um, but I mean, at least there was that kind of balance. Even though ethically, I think it's wrong for a ref to try to make up stuff. Um,
Absolutely.
because where does it end? You know,
Yeah.
it's just like where's the line, right?
Hmm.
But still, it did work. It did end up working out, and my God, look, I'm happy for Nick Folk. You know,
Yes.
it's it's not.
He's had a
It
couple of
couldn't
good
have been
weeks.
easy. Exactly, it couldn't have been easy to replace Goskowski. It couldn't be
Hmm.
easy. It couldn't be easy to be the third kicker so far in the line of succession from Vinatieri to Goskowski. I mean, they had 3 Super Bowls each between them, and
Right.
he's got none. You know, and it's just that's got to be very very difficult to think about that. So
You're
good
being
for him.
relied upon a lot more than those two are, I would say, because
That's a good
you
point.
scored a lot more touchdowns with Tom Brady as your quarterback. But when he's not, and look, I love Cam, but dude, a lot of the passes he makes are just either low or just all the way off. And I'm still giving him a shot, but
Something's not
I
right,
mean,
Shaq.
something's
Something's
up.
not right.
Something's up. And
Okay.
how bad is Stidham if if
That
if
he
if, if he can't beat Cam Newton? So I think we're stuck with him for the rest of the season. I there's nothing else out there, so we're just gonna have to roll with it. And you know, thank God that there's this defense that you know was getting beat up for the first 5 minutes. The Cardinals just ran roughshod over them,
Yep.
and, but after that, it seemed like they just snapped. And I believe it was like who had the big game? Oh, Jawan Bentley. Props to him. He had an amazing game. Adam Butler also. They had some really good defensive linemen who were having some good games. So thankfully for that, they were able to shut things down for the remainder of that game, and they kept it close. But I think if it wasn't for a lot of those calls, it probably would have been at least a 20 to maybe a 20-10 shift as for the Patriots. But look, I'll take the win.
Exactly. And the thing about the difference in coaching is this. This is what we were saying before the season started. We said if they're going to break up the Roman Empire, it better be in order to dominate both hemispheres. Okay? So it better, if you're going to do that and you say that you can do that, you better dominate the AFC and the NFC. And this is what we get on
Right.
both sides. This is it's like in Troy when Menelaus knocks down Paris and he looks up, he says, "This is what you left me for?" It's like, is this what was Bruce fucking Arians? Dude, really? So
Or like Killmonger said in Black Panther, "Is this your king, Bruce
yeah,
Arians? Is
exactly.
this your king?"
Listen, man. I will agree that Belichick failed Brady at the end there with his general management decisions. But could you imagine if he was coaching this Bucs team right now?
Look, I said it in our Legion chat.
16-0?
If if yes, oh, it'll be 16-0. But if Belichick saw what happened in that first 13 minutes of that Bucks game, when you had Tyreek Hill and Patrick Mahomes just maddening this whole thing up, it looked like NFL and ESPN NFL 2K5 out there. It was going crazy. He had 200 and plus yards in 13 minutes and 2 touchdowns. That whole defense would have been gone. Goodbye. Leave. Walk out of the stadium. No social distancing. No, just go. Leave. That's ridiculous. But
How do you think he'd feel about 3 offsides penalties on the
yeah,
first drive? Okay, and then almost a fourth one when they were going to punt. He got lucky. He did go offsides, but he got back on, and then the refs just kind of chilled out on it. But imagine that the mental failures here, and God, it's infuriating. But that's the difference, though. It's if you put Bill and Tom together, and you get 20 years of the greatest football that we've ever seen in history. That's the difference when you put them together. So you separate them. You better damn near be awesome, very awesome,
it's,
and we're not getting
it's
that on
like
the other side.
Arians, like he's never seen Brady play quarterback, and he's trying to make him play with an arm tie behind his back. I mean, the
Yeah,
strengths. If we know Tom Brady, and we know Tom Brady, his strengths are pre play diagnosis with motion and passes to your running backs, right? And pick apart the middle of the field. But Bruce Arians is going, I ain't doing none of that shit. I'm Bruce damn Arians. throw throw a shotgun.
yeah, and he says that as if it means something. I'm Bruce
Yep.
Arians, and we're all going,
Oh, and Byron
okay,
Leftwich, you're getting some of the smoke too because you're abandoning the running game now. Like, where's Ronald Jones? I mean, he had that touchdown, but other than that, Ronald Jones, what are you doing? So it's the entire coaching staff of the Bucs. To me, that's in need of a serious makeover. The consistent Patriot style offense works for this team,
yeah.
and we saw that towards the end of the game. And and then you move away from it inexplicably.
We have some super chats here that I overlooked. Psycho Mantis sends a $2 super chat. He says, Bill's going for that Schuler record. Absolutely, and he better because, and that's what we were saying earlier. We were like, if if he doesn't, if he loses a bunch of games, man, he's not
Yeah.
young enough still to keep going, or we would presume that he's not. But every game matters right now for him and for that. So good. That was a good comment. Addy, $5 super
Mhm.
chat. He says Broncos only had one completed pass today. One. Uno. Eins. Okay.
Un.
In Bulgarian, it's Edno. All right. So they had one completed pass and 2 interceptions. The last time that's been done was 98 against where the Chargers had done that in 98. But that was a long
Did they
time
do
ago.
what they want? Did they do what they wanted to do and have their coach quarterback? That's what they said they wanted to do.
Yes, it was something about they had some dude out there. I don't remember his name, but and of course, people trying to give the Saints crap for getting that win because they're playing the Saints didn't ask for that, okay? And I'm sorry, but they were going to okay, they were going to score points anyway. Did you really think Denver was going to win that even if Drew Lock was starting?
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, let's be honest here. Um, I mean, I'm not a cheerleader for the Saints, of course. Everyone knows that, but I'm not. At the same time, I'm not an idiot and a hater, and that's not their fault. So, whatever about that.
Oh, by the way,
Alfred.
new rule. I have a new rule.
Oh yeah.
You know those remember those Chiefs fans who were talking about the roughing the passer against Mahomes,
Oh
talking about,
yes.
talking about the right call. You can't complain about the Brady roughing the passer in the AFC Championship game.
No, no, and I
Fair?
can't wait. I can't wait to get to that one. Elf of Courage sends a $2 super chat. Of course, I always say this every time I see him super chat, but I love his logo. He has the Triforce. You can't beat the Triforce. He says, "Do
The
you
Triforce
think
with
that
a Gengar. That's a Pokemon.
with the Pokemon?" Okay, see, I did not know that. I just thought it was some ugly character, but I recognize the Triforce, and it shows my age, right? So I recognize the
Yeah.
Triforce. Don't recognize Pokemon.
Haunter.
Okay.
That's right.
He says, "Do you think the Jets could lose all their games?" Yes, I do, because I think that they are tanking. I don't think they're trying to win, and I saw that today against Miami. That was
Or Sam Darnold, man.
pathetic. And the fact,
I think.
you know what tells me, Shaq? You know what tells me also that I'm right? The fact that dude's not been fired.
Oh, Gase should have been fired
Exactly. If Adam Gase
weeks
is
ago.
still coaching, and he doesn't even act like he's a guy on the hot seat, that what that tells me is that ownership gave him the go ahead
Yes.
to do this. That's what that is. He wants to see Adam Gase coach Trevor Lawrence. That's what this is about. That's what this is
Yep.
about.
Yep.
Because Adam Gase
Exactly
coached
what it
Peyton
is.
Manning, and so he's trying to say you can do if you coach Peyton Manning, you can coach Trevor Lawrence. Adam Gase will not be fired. They will go 0-16, and he will not be fired.
The quarterback
So,
whisperer. They want him to prove that moniker so they can draft Trevor Lawrence. And guess what? And I hear here in New York on local radio on WFAN, like they kill Adam Gase, and rightly so. But and especially for the things that he says, like he says stuff, and they ask him a question, and they say, "Well, I got to look at the tape." Does anybody here have to look at the tape to see how bad the Jets are?
no.
You
Nope.
don't need to do that.
Nope.
So he doesn't take any he doesn't answer questions correctly. He doesn't. So if it was anybody else, he'd be fired weeks ago. But this is, like you said, this is exactly what's happening. They're going to keep him on so that they can get Trevor Lawrence, go on 16, and see what he can do with him, because
Hmm.
anyone else is fired.
Exactly. The fact that he's still standing it tells me everything I need to know about that. I mean, even Matt Patricia got fired, although Matt Patricia should have been fired before the year started. And trust me, I love Matt. Okay, he did a lot. I mean, you guys know I support expatriates no matter what, and he should have been fired. I mean, he's had plenty of time to get that thing going. Okay,
He'll,
listen, what's
he'll
the
always be a
number one
legend to me.
reason? What's the number one reason why first time head coaches don't make it? Because they lack a good quarterback. Okay. Now I'm not saying Matthew Stafford's Dan Marino, all right, but he's a pretty damn good quarterback.
He's damn
And
good.
you
Yeah.
you as a new coach, you're getting that job because the previous coach sucked. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a vacancy. So you usually go into that with a crappy quarterback, or you have to draft your own and hope that it works out, which it normally doesn't. But you were given a good quarterback and still couldn't make anything happen. What's your excuse? I mean, what is your excuse? I mean, Belichick got a good quarterback, and look what happened. What is your excuse? You've got to take advantage of that situation. You've got to. Okay? Bill Walsh, he got Montana, he made it happen. Okay? When you get somebody like that, and I'm not saying Stafford is on their level, but I'm just saying that when you get a good quarterback, you've got to make things happen. You have to.
He
Um,
he.
Oh, sorry. I said William Moss sends a $5 super chat. He says first half was awful, but we will get them back in the Super Bowl. You mean the
If you're talking
Bucs?
about the Bucks,
Okay. Yeah, Tom will get them back in the Super Bowl. I like it.
oh, and by the way, at the end of that game, they were talking. The Jim Nance was talking about, oh, they could go for a back-to-back in Super Bowl. Like it's week 12. Like, are you serious? I keep jinxing them though.
Listen, in the NFL, when one game knocks you out of the playoffs, don't tell me anything. Okay? Well, look what
Yeah,
happened to the Baltimore Ravens last year. Do you really believe that when they were going on that run last year, they seemed unstoppable? Okay? When Lamar Jackson was going to win the MVP and everyone knew it, did they really envision that they were going to lose to the Titans? Come on. Did anybody think that the Ravens were going to get put down by the Titans in their own stadium?
yeah, they were embarrassed.
And the Ravens losing was the Chiefs' ticket to the Super Bowl. So anything can happen, is what I'm saying. So the Chiefs could end up being the Ravens, where they get taken out, and then some other team comes by and says, "Oh, well, we're going to take advantage here." So it could be um, anything. Elf of Courage sends another $5 super chat. He says, "If the Jets go 0-16, would they be the worst of the teams that did it in recent times?" Uh,
Hmm.
so far, they are. I think,
Yeah.
yeah. Because when Cleveland did it, I don't think Cleveland was trying to go 0-16. I think they just knew they sucked.
They
But
sucked.
I don't think it was the plan from the very beginning. And
Yeah,
Detroit,
and the line.
I don't
Yeah,
think Detroit was trying to either. I remember after the season was over, they were interviewed, the players were interviewed, and they were pissed. They were saying stuff like, "Do you think it's funny? Do you think we like being a part of an 0-16?" I mean, they were just going hardcore. But these Jets players and these Jets coaches, they don't seem to give a crap. And that tells me that they've been given the code red by the general management and the ownership that says, yeah, we've got a bigger plan here. This is a long-term
it's
thing.
happening.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
happening. So now, if they get far and away enough losses, like as where teams like the Jaguars and a few others start getting 3 or 4 wins, I think the Jets will try to put together some wins at the end of the year just to get a rhythm going. But as long as the Jaguars are a threat to them, as far as getting Trevor Lawrence, they're going to continue to lose every single game.
And the Jaguars are trying hard, if, as evidenced by today's game against the Browns. So the Jaguars, they don't seem to want to show it. So the Jets, it seems like they're in the driver's seat, and they know it.
Yeah, this is what the Jets remind me of is last year's Dolphins. Okay, uh, I had called the Dolphins out for tanking, and then everyone said I was crazy. Well, not everyone, but a few people said I was crazy. But then a week later, remember what happened? The NFL investigated it. The NFL sent an official investigation to Miami to interview the players and interview the coaching staff to find out if they were quitting on purpose. So apparently I was onto
That
something.
that's not going to happen this year. I can guarantee you that.
Raphael says a $2 super chat. He says, speaking of the Jets, merch, yep, that's this Saturday night, buddy. This Saturday night, we got it. So good news. The jersey came in. I have the Jets jersey. It's here. Me and Melina have a little skit planned with it to kind of make it work. So it'll be funny. So yeah, definitely. I have not forgot, Raphael. So um, listen, can we talk about a problem in the NFL? I think that's getting out of hand. And I know I did the Brady hate episodes where I talked about toughness. Okay, now the point of those toughness episodes wasn't to say that now is the same as the 80s. Okay. The point was to show that the first half of Brady's career, he was getting knocked around. Okay. But even in those episodes, I admitted that the last few years have been brutally weak. Okay. So even then, I said that. But because of my position, I've tried to stay away from being overly critical of it. But right now, what's going on in the NFL is an epidemic. This lack of defense, this this inability to hit anybody, to rush anyone, to come after anybody is sickening now. It's so bad that even I can't defend it anymore. These roughing the passer calls are outrageous. Okay, the first one on Mahomes, that was completely ludicrous. The one on Brady right after that, really, really. The guy was trying to get to the quarterback and he came down on Tom's helmet. Do you understand that these helmets could be worn as motorcycle helmets? You could get in a freaking crash and you'd be okay. I mean, what are we doing here? The third one I agree with, but not roughing the passer. I thought it was a personal foul. The guy went and took his hand and shoved it in Brady's face as if it was almost like a punch, but he palmed him. That was clearly on purpose. I would call that unsportsmanlike conduct or something like that, but not roughing the passer. Really? Roughing the passer is a 15-yard penalty. That changes the game. It's out of control, dude. It's out of control. I mean, what are we supposed to do now? How are you supposed to defend anything? How are you supposed to stop these offenses? I mean, am I crazy or?
No, you're not. And it just seems like they're trying to make it even more obvious when they're calling it. And then with the inconsistency of these refs, they want to call it, and then when they see it, it goes to New York, which makes it even worse because they take 5 minutes to review it, and then they call and they don't make a change. So I don't know. I don't know what needs to happen for it to change, but yeah,
Well,
players
there's
are
no
going
way
to be
there's no way they're going to go backwards.
yeah, players are going to be more hesitant to wanting to hit these guys. They're just going to have to. I don't know, but it's hard to say that when you're in the moment and you're trying to get the guy down.
Jason Pierre-Paul was trying to get to Patrick Mahomes. The reason his arms were up is because he was trying to block the pass. And then with
Yeah,
his momentum, he came down and his arms came down. Very similar to what the Chiefs player did to Tom right after that. Okay? So I'm not just talking about the Mahomes, I'm talking about both calls are ridiculous. It's got to stop. Even in the AFC Championship game when they called that on Brady, I said, yes, it sucks that that happens, but it was the correct call. I'm not arguing the call. I'm not even arguing today's call. Yes, they called it correctly. That's the deal. Is it a stupid rule? Yes, it's a stupid rule, but
yeah,
it is the correct call.
but
So I'm
it's a
not
rule.
arguing that. I'm arguing the rule, not the call. And it was bad then. It was bad in the AFC Championship game. It was bad tonight. And it's embarrassing. It's absolutely embarrassing to football and just everything that the game stands for. You cannot defend this. All right. It's bad enough that the Chiefs and teams like that are you can't jam a receiver. You can't do anything anymore. You can't touch anybody. If you even look at them wrong, there's a flag. But now you can't even touch the quarterback. What are you supposed to do? I want to know what is. How about this? Give the defense a 12th guy or something. You got to do something. I mean, I just don't get this. I don't understand what's the next thing. I mean, they put up this meme, okay, that had Brady and Mahomes side by side. I don't know. Did you see this? And it showed all of their bulk stats. It says the
Was it on the
first.
broadcast?
No. This was. I saw it on the Facebook page, but it's shared
Oh,
all over the internet. But it shows Brady's first 41 starts versus Mahomes' first 41 starts, as if that's trying to make some kind of statement. Well, it showed obviously that Mahomes had all these touchdown passes and all these yards, and Brady didn't have as much. It's like, wait a minute.
that, without
Brady
without
came into
any
the
type
league in
of
2000.
context. Yes. When think about when Brady when was and how were offenses back then? Offenses were not, you know, throw the ball 50 times a game and throw run to pass and pass to run. Like it wasn't like that back in 2000. Again, remember in 2002, Brady led the league with 23 touchdowns. And
Exactly.
if you had 23 touchdowns today, you'd probably be in the bottom fifth of the league.
And and
So
if
offense was
if
totally
anybody
different.
thinks I'm being a hypocrite, don't forget that in the Montana Brady documentary, what was the one thing that I pointed out that I did not want to use as a big point, and it was bulk stats. Remember, I said quickly, I went through it and I said, bulk stats is not something that I really want to use here because Brady's going to have more yards. He's going to have more, obviously, he's played longer. He played in a different era. Passing was opening up a little bit more than it was when he was in the 80s. I acknowledged that. And I said, it doesn't really matter. It's not really indicative of what we're trying to prove here. So I posted it real quick, just showing my due diligence because it needs to be posted. But I made sure to say that I would not use this though as like the all end all be all, even though because it makes Montana look bad and it's not fair. All right, it's the same thing here. It's just not this. Listen, Mahomes came into a team that was already good. Okay, Alex Smith was already leading that team to the playoffs 3 out of 4 years before Mahomes ever came along. That team was already a well-oiled machine. Andy Reid is a great offensive coach. Mahomes came into a good situation. Uh, when you take a guy as talented as he is, and he's a great player, and you put him in a good situation, you're going to get those type of results, especially now. That's just how it works. To compare him to Tom back then is just completely ludicrous, and I don't. It's this obsession uh, with bulk stat comparison. I don't get it. So
It's just more gaslighting, wanting people to proclaim Mahomes is the GOAT in his third, fourth year in the league.
let the dude earn it and have a career. I mean, even he has said this. I mean, they were trying to ask him if he thinks he's the GOAT, and he says, "I'm not on Brady's level. Like, let me get there, please. Let me actually do the work. Let me earn it." Because now, you know what happens when they crown somebody like this? The same thing that happened with Aaron Rodgers. If you don't do it, then everyone's like, "What's your problem?"
Yeah,
And
what
then
happened?
nobody appreciates actually what you did because you came up short. You're actually, if you're a fan of Mahomes, you're actually, it's bad for him to put this on him like this. So, but these penalties, these roughing the passer penalties and stuff, are out of control, man. They're out of control.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Bruce Arians, fuck you, you fat stupid fuck. I don't think I've ever wanted to punch a coach like I want to punch that jackass. This guy,
And for anything you want to say about Belichick, one thing he doesn't do is diss his players immediately after the game. Like Arians just has no recollection of anything. He just wants to. Well, the past could have been better. Well, this could have been better. You never ever heard Belichick say he needed to be better. He says we have to coach better. We have to this better. You might think it's boring, but at least he's not alienating his guys.
dude, listen, Belichick is so accomplished that he would actually be allowed to do that shit. And everyone would be like, okay, all right. What has Arians
Yeah,
done? What have you done, dude? You had one team in the NFC Championship game one time, and you got your ass killed. Okay, you got embarrassed. What have you done? Other than set a record for every time you've had a quarterback, they've set records for their highest career interceptions. That's bravo. I mean, you should be very happy about that. We have a $5 super chat from See It Twice. He says, "Trevor Lawrence, stay in school or just say no." No, I'm not talking about drugs. I'm talking about the Jets. Amen. Okay. If you need to understand why it's important that you don't want to be the number one pick, guys, it's not like it used to be. All right. Before 2011, being the number one pick meant something. It was a lot of money. It was a big difference, huge, massive difference between being first overall and then the rest. Okay. But the collective bargain agreement that was done in 2011 changed all that. And now rookies are on these very affordable, team affordable deals. So being number one means absolute piss. Okay. Ask Patrick Mahomes if he would rather go back in time and rather be number one overall. I
the
want to
only
know.
the only thing being number one means is the pressure of it, the standard of the number one pick, because you're then looked at to wanting to blow everything out of the water. But I mean, but that just comes with the number one pick. It's not really a contract thing. It's just
Well,
that that's what
there's
you're
no
looked up
personal
to.
benefit anymore.
Right.
There. Okay, so what does number one get you? First of all, first and foremost, it gets you to the shittiest team in the NFL. Okay, no thanks. What is it? What secondly, what does it get you? It means that when a team takes you number one overall, they are expecting you, okay, to not only win them a Super Bowl,
Hmm.
but they're hoping that you might be a Hall of Famer. Okay, there's
Yeah,
like that. That's what they're thinking when they draft you number
and
one
play
overall.
and play an entire season every year. Don't get
Yep.
hurt. Yeah, you're looked upon to do a lot.
If you don't come even close to that, you are in deep shit. Okay. Why? Why would you want that? I would rather be Mahomes. What was he picked at? What was he like seventh or eighth or something like that?
And like that.
So he got in on the Chiefs, who actually the Chiefs had to actually trade in order to get that low. Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers has always
Yeah.
been pissed about that he didn't get picked by the 49ers, number one overall.
Yeah, he was 10. Mahomes was.
Mahomes was 10th, okay. And Aaron Rodgers went in the high 20s, I believe, in the mid to high 20s. Do you really think that Aaron Rodgers would want to go back in time and be number one, knowing
Nope.
what he knows now? Hell no. Why would you? Why would you want to do that? It rarely works out, guys. I mean, it just for every Peyton Manning, there is a Jamarcus Russell or some other loser
If
that
Aaron
just
Rodgers
doesn't
went
get it done. I mean,
Aaron Rodgers went number one, he would have been asked to start immediately, right?
hmm hmm
He wouldn't have had the opportunity to sit for 4 years, learn under Brett Favre, well,
right,
whatever he could learn from Brett Favre, and then gain that knowledge and apply it to his skills and his abilities. But yeah, when you're the number one pick, you're automatically supposed to be on point from day one.
exactly. We have a $5 super chat from Jared Weaver. He says, more proof Goodell sucks. Amen. Uh, wide receivers need fear. Wide receivers need fear the middle. Uh, definitely shouldn't fear big money fines. We need LT, Ronnie Lott, Reggie White types. Big hits are good, absolutely. And
Absolutely.
it's
The only thing I'll say to that is a lot of times those type of safeties. Do you remember Bob Sanders from the Colts
of
back in
course.
the day?
Oh yeah,
He would just fly, man. He was
I
just like
know.
a bullet out there. But
I had nightmares about that guy.
right,
So
the
yeah,
problem with that was, I mean, not saying that that's not a good thing, but I'm just saying sometimes you got to have the body type and the uh, stamina to be able to do that. Because if you're just
yeah,
leading head first and going for it all, you risk yourself. But I guess go for it if that's what you want to do. Because yeah, these guys need to be able to get hit, and that's just not happening.
exactly. And like Jared said here, it's now it's if I hit him, I'm going to get fined. Come on, where again? I saw Mahomes break off two first downs, scrambles for first downs, and he ran as slow as shit. Okay, my God, it's like really. Now I don't know if you picked up on this tonight. But did you hear the way Tony Romo was commentating the game when he talked about
Oh my God.
Mahomes? Have you ever heard anything like that? Yes. Yes. It was verbal fellatio on national television. Okay? It was ridiculous. Mahomes did nothing but threw a pass. I mean, it was a total normal, nothing special at all.
We heard a 3 hour verbal orgy.
Yes, all he said he was like, you see that? You see how he calculated that in his brain, and then he learns. He learns. So he's like a computer. He takes the first play and then he learns from it, and then it does. It's like, what are you talking about?
I'm
What
surprised he
the
didn't say look
hell?
look. I'm surprised he didn't say look at that torque.
I know. I wanted a torque out of tonight. I was like, can we get another torque, please? Please, God, can we get another torque? $2 super chat from John Thomas Chavez. He says, "Watch for another parody video after today's games." My God, yeah. I mean, seriously, nobody wants to touch Mahomes. They don't want to touch any quarterback, but they don't want to touch him for whatever reason. And by the way, it's ironic because Tom Brady took some hits tonight, man.
Hmm.
And they lit his ass up several times. Now, I know that there are people who are going to say, "Oh man, you never blame Brady. It's never his fault." Blah blah blah. Okay, let me tell you something. All right, I do blame Brady. Okay, for one thing, and it's his fault if he doesn't take over this offense. If he doesn't take over this offense, if he doesn't tell Arians, yeah, yeah, no, that's not going to work anymore, then it is his fault. But I've been saying for how long? I know, Shaq, you've been saying it. Stop with this Arians bullshit. Let Tom be Tom. Let Tom do what he does. What is Tom about? He is a pre-snap quarterback. He's a pre-snap
Hmm.
genius. All right? That's how he gets you. That's how he figures out what you're doing, and that's how he gets you. You weren't doing that. Your Bruce Arians' offense is a type of
And he
offense
throws the
where
ball to
you
all open players.
you don't you don't figure out the defensive scheme until after the ball is snapped. It's like, yeah, wow. So if you ain't got a while in the pocket, or if you're not mobile like Tom Brady's not, okay, as far as like getting out of the pocket and stuff, you're screwed. So Arians, so we've been saying that Tom needs to switch to that tonight. The very drive, the very drive that Tom started doing that, we all recognized it. We mentioned it in the Legion chat. We were like, there it is. Okay,
Yep.
what happens? Boom, 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 touchdown.
And
Okay,
Gronk got involved in a big way, and I don't think I've seen that really this season until tonight. And that's part of it. That's what it is. Guys getting open and him not forcing the ball to Mike Evans or whoever just because it's Mike Evans and you have to do that. But getting the big guy like Gronk, feeding him because that's what he's there for, right?
yeah.
So and like Ronald Jones, getting him off to the side and letting him take the ball to the end zone. That's what Brady's about. But you got Bruce Arians and Byron Leftwich, with these unbombs and all this stuff. And it's not like Brady can't do that, but that's not his game. That's not
Well,
what he's there for.
I'm gonna bail out Byron Leftwich on this in this regard. I don't think he's scheming. I think he's calling. So I think what happens is Arians, it's his system. It's his, all the plays were designed by him. All Byron Leftwich is doing is just calling the plays as they come along. But it's not
Okay.
even his. I don't think it's him. I think whatever the system is, whatever the plays are, Byron is just calling them, and that's it. What needs to happen now is Tom just needs to take over the game and just do what he does. But the good news here is that it wasn't going to happen in one game, okay? Because if they didn't practice that, if the other guys aren't aware of this and
Mhm.
understand it, it doesn't matter. But now if they move to that, now they've got a week of practice with it, and then now it's different.
I,
So,
I would hope it would be evident to, if it's evident to us, because we saw a dramatic change. I
yep.
would think if they watched the film on Monday and Tuesday, it would be obvious to them, especially Brady. So hopefully that will be the case because in that first 5 minutes, it just 13 minutes, it looked lost.
He doesn't know what he's doing, Bruce Arians. He doesn't know. The entire team's attitude is ridiculous. And by the way, Mike Evans, if that doesn't, Mike Evans is the number one indicator of the bad discipline of this team. When Mike Evans doesn't get something his way out there, if he's not wide open, have you noticed this? If he's not wide open, he will not fight for a ball. He will not
Mm-hmm.
even try for, like, he gives up. And then he expects a flag somewhere. He reminds me of Michael Thomas, just not as an effective Michael Thomas. But he's always looking for some excuse instead of fighting. I mean, how many times have we seen guys like Edelman fight for that ball or take a big hit or something and doesn't give a crap. Mike Evans is the exact opposite. He doesn't even attempt to do this. And
I
I
think
don't
it's
get it.
because he feels that, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think it's because he feels entitled to the ball. He's one of, like kind of one of those Keyshawn Johnson type. Like he doesn't say it out loud like Keyshawn did, but kind of makes it clear that because he's who he is and he's as talented as he is, I guess that entitles him to get the ball. And
Yeah,
and again, in a
yeah.
Brady offense, you're not entitled to the ball unless you're open.
But in Arians, you are. So
Right.
Mike Evans is one of those dudes, which a lot of receivers are, but he's one of those dudes that is okay with losing as long as he's getting his numbers. Yeah, that's a problem. So he could be winning, but if he's not getting his numbers, that's a problem for him, right? All right. Well, with the Evans thing, okay, I know he's catching touchdowns and stuff, but they're coming at times where it's too little, too late. They're not coming at times that you need them, and there's too many mistakes in between and stupid shit in between. It's not making up for it. Give me a guy who's hungry and will fight for the ball over this guy who is a complete diva. All right. And another problem, if Brady starts running a Patriots type offense the way Brady likes, you've got a guy who can play the Edelman spot, who can be your Amendola or your Edelman. His name is Antonio Brown. He's right there. He's right there. Okay,
Did
you
he
can
play
turn him.
today?
You can turn him. Yeah, he was out there barely, but you can turn him into that. He can do that. You don't even need to put him on the perimeter. That's you've got Evans and Godwin, and you don't need him for that. You can make this happen. You could turn this into the '07 Patriots. You've got the guy who can go deep. You got the slot receiver. You got the Welker, but now you got two tight ends I think are very capable. I think Gronk still has something left in the tank. You've got a pretty damn good running back. You got a pretty damn good backup running back as well. Their
Mm-hmm.
tools are there. It is the scheme. My God, it is the scheme. I just can't say it enough. But let's also recognize the Chiefs are damn good, dude. Holy
Very
crap!
good.
I
Absolutely
mean,
good.
it. Do you know when the Chiefs don't score? I'm like in shock. I'm like, oh my God,
And
are
they
they
and
punting?
they
Uh,
and they score so fast. It's like you don't even know what hit you.
It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And Tyreek Hill, dude, he was clowning these guys so badly that he did a backflip in their face. Okay?
I mean, that's just embarrassing. I mean, you have to be embarrassed. I mean, when a guy is walking slow towards the end zone with his back to it and then does a backflip. I mean,
When someone does that, they are owning your ass. Okay?
mm-hmm.
The Chiefs make it look easy. Okay? It's not easy, but they make it look easy. They're really good, man. And I tell you what, they did a good job with that getting Steve Spagnuolo as their defensive coordinator. Um,
Right.
I think his defense comes up when they need it. I've been paying attention to them all year, but yeah, they have a they have a good chance of repeating if they continue to play this well. But at the same time, I see hope. Uh, if what happened tonight makes Arians go and let Tom do his thing, they win out the rest of the regular season. They don't drop another game. So, but dude, there's some laziness on the defense. These guys won't tackle.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how many missed tackles did we see tonight? It, it,
Fun.
the, again, you watch the Patriots game in game one, and then in the game two, you watch the Bucs, and you watch the lack of effort. It's enormous. That's coaching, man. That's coaching right there. So, Matt,
Well,
yeah. I'm referring to this year, and my own eyes can tell you that uh, Evans is not trying. On he gives up. He gives up, and I can point out every single game. I can point out at least 2 or 3 times he's done that. At least every game. So I don't know whatever he did before is irrelevant. I don't care about what he did in 2015, 2016, 17, 18. I don't give. Doesn't matter. All I know is that right now he's acting like a little bitch. And Tom walked over him today and started talking shit to him. I don't think Brady likes Evans. I really don't. I get the vibe. I don't think Brady likes Evans. I think he likes Godwin. I think he actually personally likes Godwin. I don't think he likes Evans. I mean, I don't know that for sure. But that's the vibe I get. I don't know about you, but
it seems as though I think Brady has an affinity because for guys that are just like him, guys who aren't entitled, guys who feel like they earn their stripes, and Godwin's probably one of those guys. Again, I think Mike Evans is one of those guys who feels entitled, and because of his talent, and he has a world of talent. I think that he's got to get the ball 10 times a game, 150 yards, 2 touchdowns. But again, in an offense like that, that's just not how it works. And
do you know
I can't
that
believe if that's the case, I can't believe they don't know that. With 14 weeks in, or however long it's been.
with the complete ineptitude of Bruce Arians, do you know that Brady still almost won this game tonight
Yeah.
in defiance of that? But what the hell was going on at the end of the game there with the timeouts and I mean, like, I guess when I was watching it, I was kind of hoping that something good might happen, although I didn't think it would. But you got to get Tom the ball back. You got to give him a chance. You got to, you know. But still, with that said, I think some good came out of this. If they realize what they've done and they realize what they need to do, then this game could end up being the greatest thing that happened to this team. I know that's funny. A loss could be, but yes, it could be the thing that actually revealed itself. That said, oh my
And
God, look. So
yeah, and they have 2 weeks to go over it since they have a bye week next week.
now
So
imagine, exact, good point. Exactly, that's perfect. For 2 weeks now, they've
yeah.
got to install this new system, whatever they need to do. But imagine if they had beaten the Chiefs today using Bruce's stuff. Oh my God, his ego would have been through the roof. And then we know it would have costed them down the road. We know it because we've seen it. But I still cannot get out of my mind his lack of game plan against the Saints 2 weeks ago. That's got to be the worst thing the worst coaching job
Oh yeah,
I might have ever even seen ever. I've never seen anything like that. The
it was
amount,
bad.
yeah, it was rough. I mean, yes, Sean Payton is one of the best coaches in the league, but still, that was an embarrassment. That was bad. But again, I don't want to sound like I'm living in the past and stuff, but if you're going to break up our empire, you better damn well do a good job uh, separated. And as far as Belichick goes, I'm giving him another year. This, the salary cap is going to be better, more manageable next year. Um, and missing Hightower and Cannon and guys like Chung and the leadership there is big. But Brady's team, even without a preseason and knowing these guys, if they had just been doing this offense all the whole time, hell, I mean, they might have they right now they may be like 9-1. Uh, I mean, or at least going into that game, they could have been 9-1. Maybe they lose that one. So I really believe that. But Belichick still got time to make things happen on his side. Brady,
Yeah, and
there's a
again,
clock.
this
There's a
yeah,
clock.
this is a year where on the Patriots where some of these guys are rookies. So you're looking at and second year players. So you're looking at guys can who who have the mentality to be a Patriot, meaning that they have the ability to, not bulk under pressure and be able to have that winning mentality. They're still learning that down there in Tampa. So I
Well,
mean,
that's
Brady's the only one who really has that. And so again, I agree with
yeah,
what you said earlier. They have to install that mentality as mentally and in plays, and they have to do it in a quick manner because they have two games against Atlanta coming up, and Atlanta's coming off a huge win. So
yeah. Well, that offense is still great. The
yeah,
Falcons and to be honest with you, the Falcons are supposed to be a good team. They're supposed to be. It's actually more shocking
mhm.
that they suck. Okay, that's actually more surprising because they've got the right players. I mean, would you take right now? Would you take Matt Ryan on the Pats?
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Okay. Um, it's
I
just
I take I take Sam Darnold over Cam Newton right now.
okay. Okay. Let's not get crazy. No, I'm kidding.
I would. I'm
Okay.
sick
You
of
know
him,
what?
man.
No, what? Sam. Yeah. Yeah. Sam Darnold's not too bad. I was but going back to being the number one pick, look at the situation with the Bengals. You know, uh, he's screwed. Okay, Burrow's screwed. I mean, that organization is awful, and
Yeah.
it's just going to be forever.
Well,
Nothing's going
and
to change that.
now he's. I mean, I'm sure he could come back next year, but I mean, after ACL, MCL, and structural damage to his knee, that's going to take a while for him to get back to 100%. So I don't even know if he'll be 100% in a year. So it's already lost. And then
Uh,
you're on the Bengals. So
Dude, number one overall is a curse almost. It seems it, it,
yeah,
it's almost like damn. I'd rather not be. I'd rather be picked in the mid first round somewhere, or even later. So that's a much better situation. And of course, and that only applies if you really care about having a good career or you care about being number one and being Mr. Hot Shot and all that stuff. But the pressure is enormous on a number one overall guy. You've got to be the best. You're expected to be the best guy in franchise history kind of thing. That's what they're expecting, and that is a monumental task to be that because you're going to a team that sucks and you're going to a coach that sucks or probably new or something or like that. But Aaron Rodgers threw Mike McCarthy under the bus. Okay. Now, I am not a big fan of doing that. I don't think you should do something like that. But when Aaron Rodgers did that, he clearly recognized something that we didn't know. Now, I know what we suspected and other people suspected, but we couldn't know for sure. But what did Aaron recognize? He recognized that McCarthy was a problem, that he wasn't doing whatever it took to win. And Aaron apparently felt that he shouldn't have. Now, did McCarthy deserve more respect than that, than the outwardly way that Aaron Rodgers was acting? Yeah, he did, because McCarthy had won a Super Bowl with Aaron. So it's a different dynamic there. But Brady needs to do that with Arians now. Not so disrespectfully as Aaron
yeah,
did.
in an
Aaron was just
outwardly
like,
way.
yeah, that was like, oh my God, what are you doing? But behind the scenes, Brady needs to say, listen, man, we got to do it this way. It's just not working. It's not. And if we want to win, death by a thousand paper cuts. We'll go deep when it's
Mhm.
there. And you got to stop worrying about guys' feelings, whether one guy's getting yards or his numbers or not. Let's go back. Let's go and do the thing where the open guy gets it. Who cares who that is? Okay? Who cares? It doesn't matter who it is, instead of trying to force things to people. Even today, with that great play to Evans, one of the ones that was to Evans, that seemed forced to me. Even that one.
Yes.
So,
Are you talking about the touchdown or the one that had the flag calls on it towards
uh,
the end?
not that one. There was another one. But
Okay.
Elf of Courage, $5 super chat. He says, uh, "This is Shaq. This one's for you."
Yeah, he says I would take Philip Rivers instead of Sam Darnold over Cam right now. I take both of them. I
No,
mean,
of
I'm
course.
just, but definitely Philip Rivers. Yeah,
No, I would take Phillip. But I would take Phillip.
absolutely.
I think he's still a good quarterback. So,
Yeah, and he's showing it. I mean, he doesn't really have a good team around him in Indianapolis, but he's still doing things. So yeah, absolutely, I would take him.
yep. Now, one thing, and I just want to mention this because it's interesting. Um, One thing I think people don't understand about these quarterbacks and who is MVP or who's doing all those things. There is a there's an element to quarterbacking that is more than just a stat line. Passer rating doesn't tell you everything. QBR doesn't tell you everything. You got to look at other things as well. Like what have they gone up against? The rankings versus another guy who goes up against different ranked defenses, different pass offenses. How much help do they have? Um, how is the other positions performing around them? All of these things matter. And when people look at a stat line, they say, "Oh, Aaron Rodgers is number one or number two in the league right now." You know, no, actually, if we look at effectiveness, if we look at a guy's value versus how much he's doing and how much he's overcoming against what he's got in front of him, Josh Allen is actually more valuable to the Buffalo Bills right now than Aaron Rodgers is. And I know that sounds crazy and people are going to freak out about that. But based on the numbers, as far as, like I said, those other elements involved, even though visually it doesn't look that way. It looks like, oh my God, Aaron Rodgers, he's all over the field. Yeah, okay, but just remember, a 10-yard completion is a 10-yard completion, whether or not you're running around looking like Fran Tarkenton or whether or not you are stumbling and then you flick it and get it there. 10 yards is 10 yards. That don't matter. But people are judging who's MVP and stuff in the order of that based off of what they see every week and not what's actually the substance of it. Now, right now, the number one clear choice is Mahomes. But after that, it gets a little more confusing. And that's just what I'm trying to say. This is kind of like a heads up before the thing comes out.
Yeah,
It's
I, I like what you said about Josh Allen because uh, he's perfect for what the Bills do. He is the most valuable player for the Bills in the way they have constructed their team. He doesn't like he has a cannon for an arm, but he doesn't force things where it's you can pick it off. He and he's physical. He runs when he needs to. When he needs to, they run the football when they need to. They're just they're just overall a consistent team, and that's why obviously they're on the top of the division. But he's perfect for what they do, and not that I'm saying that he's not an MVP for the league, but I just think that he's great for the Bills, and I think that helps a lot. And I think that goes to your point. If you're the most valuable player for your team, then you deserve some type of accolade for that. But that's not what people think. People think that MVP means who has the most stats, who has the most touchdowns, most yards, and that's who you go to.
exactly. And that's what I'm trying to say. And I just want to reiterate that. Um, I am talking about each guy's individual mountain that they have to climb. Okay. So let's say that Aaron Rodgers and Josh Allen equally have a mountain to climb. But one guy's mountain is a bunch of up and down and it's just crazy around and much more difficult. And the other guy's mountain is a little more straightforward. Now we have to take that into account. Okay. How we're going to do that? Well, we do that by looking at rankings and we do that about what they're facing each week. When you do that, you suddenly start to get a picture of, okay, this is different. They both ended up with good records. They both ended up with wins. They both ended up with a lot of yards, touchdowns, things like that, right? But who actually had to do more on their own? Who was actually exerting more force upon their team winning? That's what I'm talking about. And when you look at that close, you start to be like, whoa, this is not what I thought it was. And this kind of thinking is why last year I thought Russell Wilson was the MVP. I do not believe that Lamar Jackson was more valuable to the Ravens last year than Russell Wilson was for the Seahawks. Because, be quite honest with you, I think RG3 could have had that Ravens team doing pretty good. Not as good as Lamar, okay? But I do believe that the Ravens is more of a team. Okay? They're not about
Yeah,
one guy. They are a
they
good,
ran the football like just like this
yeah,
year. Last year they ran the football like crazy. So that's pretty much what they are. And Lamar added to that definitely, but he wasn't
exactly.
the
But when you look at Wilson compared to
only.
that, he was the Seahawks. He's
Yeah.
it. There is nobody else. And even right now, with Russell having a few bad games and the Seahawks kind of falling back a little bit in the standings, he is still, when you put everything up against the other guys, he's still in the top. He's still in the running. It's crazy. So you got to look at context here. And I know everyone's going gaga over Aaron Rodgers, but when I put up his stats and everything, when it didn't hold up to scrutiny, it really didn't. It didn't hold up next to some other guys and what they're doing, and that I'm just being honest. And another guy that we're overlooking is, listen, I have no love for the Steelers, but Ben Roethlisberger is leading a 10-0 team right now. Why is nobody talking about him?
Does he does he have eye
His
popping
stats
stats
are
that
they're pretty good. But the stat that matters is 10-0. Okay,
at 10-0 is the most
that
important?
that is, it's about winning. Okay, it's about winning. That is first and foremost, and nobody's giving him any love because it's not flashy. All right, that's the point I'm trying to get at. Everybody's paying attention to Aaron
Mhm.
Rodgers. Oh, look how cool it looks every week. But Ben Roethlisberger is getting touchdown passes. He's getting yards. He's getting the job done. But he's 10-0. I'm just saying, and again, I'm not even saying that Ben Roethlisberger is better right now than Aaron. I'm just saying that let's look at some other things here that are
Mhm.
going on, and I think people are underrating Tom's season right now. It's better than people think it is.
And people should look at the context because this is Brady at 43 with these numbers.
Yep. And do you imagine if last year, if Tom Brady went down for a game and Matt Moore came in and won for the Patriots last year in Tom Brady's place, do you imagine what would have happened? Could you imagine that? Matt Moore, okay, I'm talking about the career backup from the Miami Dolphins, the guy who was the backup to the backup of Ryan Tannehill in Miami. That guy. That guy came in for Patrick Mahomes last year and won. He won. Okay? Now, if that had happened to Tom, could you imagine? Or how about the Saints going 5-0 with their backup quarterback? Or how about right now that they're 2-0 with a guy who's not even a quarterback? Not one word from anybody right now about this. Not one word. If this was Tom, people would be losing their freaking minds. And that's what I'm saying. Tom has no room to do anything. He can't. If he makes one mistake every week, it's this and this and this. It's like I said about Russell Wilson. The Rams did to Brady what they did to Wilson, but yet nobody mentioned it about Wilson, but they did mention it about Brady. That Brady hate is so intense. It is so insane. It's why we got to constantly praise Tom, because we've got to counteract the hate, because the hate is so bad that if we don't counter, if we start shitting on Tom, then everybody's shitting on him, and then there's nothing there. There's nothing left, and I'm just
And it's more for what Brady doesn't do than what he does do, because what he does do is mostly good. But what he doesn't do is, if he doesn't shake somebody's hand, that's a worldwide story, as it was last week. I mean,
but he shook Mahomes' hand today.
but nobody cares about that.
And he lost. But, by the way, Mahomes walked off the field when he lost to the Raiders and didn't shake hands with Derek Carr. We didn't hear anything at all. And so basically, what I'm just talking about, I'm talking about the hypocrisy and the way
Yeah.
people treat some quarterbacks, but then they completely ignore the other guys when they do the same thing, and it's just ridiculous. So, in reality, I don't think it's an indictment on Patrick Mahomes that Matt Moore came in and won. I don't think it's an indictment on Drew Brees right now that they are 2-0 with a guy who's not a quarterback. I'm not surprised, because those are good teams. But does Drew Brees make them even better? Yeah, he does. Does Patrick Mahomes make the Chiefs even better? Of course. But it doesn't mean that they're not good teams anyway. And just like Jimmy Garoppolo, he won a game with the Patriots. Well, that's good. That was a great Patriots team. But you add Tom Brady and you get a Super Bowl. And that's what happened. You see the difference? But I'm only trying to compare the hypocrisy, not the actual results itself, because I don't buy into flimsy data like that. Like someone said here, I noticed that someone said something about Matt Castle went 11-5, and I'm surprised you guys have been on this channel for so long and didn't know that I did an entire episode about that Matt Castle season. But it's one of the most overused points against Brady I've seen. There's so many different complex angles to that season itself. But Matt Castle is not Matt Moore. All right. It's not the same thing. It is not the same thing. Okay. And Matt Castle is not Peyton or Taysom Hill either. Matt Castle is a better quarterback than that.
And Matt Castle came into a Patriots team that went 18-1 in the previous year. So, no other team's done that. So when you're coming into that type of a team, you're going to do well for yourself. Not that Matt Castle doesn't have any skills at all that, I could go do that. But, it's just that he had support around him enough so that he could be able to do stuff like that.
And also, Shaq, what is the thing that those three teams have in common? The Chiefs and Saints and Patriots, all who were able to get a victory when their star quarterback went down. What do they all have in common? Great coaching.
Good coaching.
You take a great coach and you take a great quarterback, and what happens? Fireworks. That's what you want. All right. Anything else you want to cover, man?
Is there anything? That's about it. I mean, yeah, it was an interesting week.
Yeah.
And the week is going to keep going because there's a game tomorrow and a game on Tuesday.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of liking it. Like it makes Tuesdays a little more interesting. But right now, well, we've got the Packers Bears playing right now. That actually ended up being a more interesting game than I could have ever imagined. With the Bears, they're like not bad, It's
Although
just weird.
although they're
Uh,
playing that way right now.
yeah,
They're down.
well, they're down by 10, right? So
Yeah.
tomorrow night, the Seahawks at the Eagles. So is it true? Is Carson Wentz benched? Is that official, or was that just rumor?
Mm,
I guess it doesn't matter either way. But
I don't think it matters. Yeah.
um, what the hell were the Cowboys doing on Thanksgiving? What was that? That was embarrassing. I felt bad for them,
That's
and I'm
bad.
not even a Cowboys. I was like embarrassed for the fans of the Cowboys. It was just like, this is humiliating. You play every year on Thanksgiving, and you look like complete ass in front of the whole country. It's the only game on
Maybe that
during Thanksgiving that at that
maybe
time. I mean,
that's what needs to happen. They can't play on Thanksgiving anymore.
and the Lions were so bad that it got their head coach and their GM fired, which they should have been done already, but still.
The same day.
I mean, did you see
Oh,
Jerry
and
Jones?
speaking of
It was
the,
just, go ahead.
I was gonna say, speaking of the Eagles, I think Doug Peterson wants out too, because they're
Why?
talking about.
I mean,
I
like, what
I
do you
don't
mean? Like,
know.
did you hear something or?
No, it's just saying there's just rumors going around saying that he's he wants Jeffrey Lurie, the owner, to let him go. I don't know why. Maybe he's just tired, but
Maybe he shouldn't
weird.
have got rid of Foles. How about that?
Possibly.
Uh, he could have gotten rid of Wentz when the timing was right, and maybe even gotten something out of it, and even given Foles even more stuff. So, but I guess we'll never know. Um, the Cardinals are an interesting team. Some weeks they look good, some
A
weeks
good
it's like
team,
you scratching your head
but
like, what the hell are they doing? But
kind of like the Patriots.
yeah, this was a good matchup today, wasn't it?
It was. And by the way, James White, good for him. I mean, he's been through so much this year,
Oh,
and
I know. The
for
God,
him
that
to
was a
have
great. Yes.
2 touchdowns, good for him. I'm very happy for him. Oh,
Let's see. Oh, Raphael says, sends a $2 super chat. He
how much
says, "Where's
betting are you gonna do,
Israel?"
man?
He goes, "Where's Israel or Zach Black? We got a game." I don't know where Israel is right now. Actually, that's weird. Interesting. Well, I know he's not very happy with his Cowboys right now. So, all right. Well, how about we call this one a night and let's watch the
Sure.
rest of the Packers Bears game. Thank you guys, and we'll see you soon. And keep an eye out this week. Um, Cowboys versus 49ers next. Yeah. Honestly, with the way Cowboys are playing, I mean, the 49ers might get another win. So there you go, Raphael. Like I said, props to you guys for every win you get from now on. So,
Yeah.
all right, guys. Well, thank you so much for being on tonight. We really appreciate you. So, uh, we'll catch you next time. All right.
All right. See you Saturday.
Good night, guys.
Night.